Welcome. Good morning. It's time for the Thinking Partner video series. Um, I'm slightly flummoxed. I decided about 5 minutes ago to do a slightly different setup. So, welcome to my living room. I usually do these from like my home office. Um, this is all a bit balanced and all over the place. So, please keep your fingers crossed that the tech works, that you can hear me okay. Uh, yeah, I hope it's all actually working. Also, I have my notes of the stuff that I want to say to you on a second screen that's sort of down to one side. So if you see me gazing off into space, that's what I'm looking at. I'm not sure this was the best idea to change my mind so close to actually going live. But hey, what's the worst that can happen? I screw it up. I have to do it again. I create a blooper reel. I don't know. Anyway, here we are. So I thought I'd go with this setup because this is sort of a less formal one. A lot of my videos have been quite kind of sciencey, fact based. But what I've been doing recently is I wanted to mix it up a little bit and tell some stories as well as doing the science, which I will come back to in a moment because I might cut all this stuff off in an edit. So, what I want to talk to you about is something that I've seen happen a lot, certainly more than once. It's a bit before the founder journey because I work with founders, but I want to talk about what happens a little bit before that, if that makes sense. So, someone might come to me, they're not yet a founder, they might be a freelancer, so they might be like self-employed, so they do have a certain amount of autonomy and control over what they do, but they haven't like set up their own thing first. So they're working for someone else, they're doing great work, they're building a reputation and a profile, but alongside all of that, there's a thing, there's a project. Might be something they're actually doing, might be just this kind of secret dream, and it's something they've been quietly kind of nurturing and fitting it in around everything else whenever they've got a little bit of time. Whatever they've got left from the day job, the client work, probably giving it less time than it deserves. And when they describe it to me, it's almost apologetic. It is, oh, this is just something I do on the side. This is just a little, this is something I'm working on when I can. Oh, this is something I'd love to do more on, but I'm so busy. I don't have time. I need to pay the bills. And I listen. And what I notice, sometimes even before they kind of fully notice it themselves, is that this isn't how someone talks about a hobby. I notice how their energy changes. I notice how their body moves differently. I notice how their eyes light up. This is how someone talks about a thing they really care about. This is how they talk about what they were supposed to be doing. That's a little bit about what this video is about. So, to introduce myself, in case you're new here, I'm Annette Corbett. I'm a thinking partner for women founders, and I help to build a business with meaningful impact without running yourself into the ground. That's what I do. And this is like part of a weekly video series about what happens when we don't give ourselves space to think and what becomes possible when we do. And this is kind of a journey from that like A to B point a little bit, what I want to talk to you about today. This isn't a sciencey one. This is more of a story one, uh, kind of an amalgamation of stories, partly for like client confidentiality, but also because it's something that I've seen so many times that I've seen that it's a recurring pattern, and enough times to know that this is true. So I want to share something I've seen happening with founders because I think it illustrates something important, and it also might tell you a little bit about what I do when I help you to create more thinking space. So back to this person or this amalgamation of people sitting with me, describing her project as the kind of the side thing, fitting it in, squeezing it around the edges of everything else. And as she talks, something kind of begins to happen because when you give someone enough time and space to really talk about something, not like the elevator pitch version or the quick summary or the here's my idea, but let's move on kind of version. When you give, real space to explore and articulate, real things start to emerge, or the real version of the thing starts to emerge. So she starts describing how much time she wishes she could give it. She starts talking about the impact that she wants to have, the project, the bits of the project that have been exciting and enlivening and fulfilling, and how ideas come faster when she talks about this thing, or when she's doing this work, how she feels more in flow, which is something I've talked about in the sciencey episode, actually, what flow like technically is, because it is a thing. It's not just an idea that we talk about. How this is the thing that she thinks about on the train, or when she's going for a walk, or when she's in the shower, or when she's supposed to be doing something else entirely. How the work she does for other people feels good, fine, fulfilling to a point, but how this work feels different, and how this work feels like hers. I should go off on a tangent slightly. I'll keep it short. Um, many years ago, I did a producing course with a company called China Plate. If you're one of my arts people, you might know about them. They make some amazing work. Try not to tangent too much. And when I did this course, one of the people at China Plate described producing as something like talking something into existence. I loved that phrase. It's really stayed with me, as you can tell. This process of this client or this client type coming to me, this is what they're doing. When they start explaining this thing, when they start articulating the project and the excitement and the impact they want to have, they are talking this thing into existence. And at some point in that conversation, I reflect back what I'm hearing. Not as like a set of instructions or a plan, not as like advice or suggestions, at least not straight away. Just here's what I notice as I'm listening to you. Here's what I notice as you talk about this. These are the patterns. These are the gaps that I'm spotting. This is what I'm seeing in you when you talk about this. Here's what I hear under your hedging and your careful language around how you're speaking about this. And when you do that, you see the change. I won't have had to say anything particularly clever, which is good, because I don't always have something clever to say, fortunately. We're nowhere near the stage of frameworks and strategies and 5-step plans and actions and all that kind of work at this point. That comes further down the line. But for possibly the first time, what I see in them and what I sense in them is that she's finally been given enough space to hear herself, really hear herself. And what she heard was, this matters to me. This is a real thing. This deserves to be taken seriously. That side thing stops becoming a side thing in that moment. It's like, sometimes it can be really kind of instant almost. It's not necessarily real in the world yet. There's still a job to keep, bills to run, clients to service, a realistic timeline to navigate. But in her own head, something has changed. And a decision has been made. It's like there's been a mindset shift of, I'm a founder now, even before the thing necessarily fully exists. She's a founder, even if she hasn't told anyone else that yet. So what's actually happened is, what I think is going on in moments like that, it can kind of weirdly feel like magic, but it isn't, obviously. She didn't lack clarity. She had clarity all along. When I hear people tell these stories to me, when I hear people describe their projects, they tend to be rich and detailed, and I can feel and see and hear the passion and the amount of thought that's been going on, even if not necessarily sort of on a conscious, like, I want to think about this thing. It just comes out as we explore. What she lacked was somewhere to hear herself clearly articulate enough to trust it, to trust that clarity that she already had. Because when we're carrying something that is important entirely in our own heads without properly like talking it out loud and taking it out, looking at it, we kind of edit it, we manage it, we hedge, we hear through the filter of all the reasons why this can't happen or why we shouldn't do it or why it might not work, all the things that could go wrong, all the voices, all the expectations, both like internal and external, that tell us, "Mm, is that the right idea?" Have some kind of opinion, basically, on whether the idea is a good one or not. We talk ourselves out of our own knowing. And what thinking space does at its best is remove that filter, because you're in a space where you can just articulate without judgment. There's no, you're not arguing against it. You're not. I don't come to sort of cheerlead your project. Sometimes I don't have much of a poker face, so you can see, the excitement, the enthusiasm that I receive from people tends to be infectious. So you kind of see me reacting, but I try not to uh, cheerlead, if you like, because I don't want to uh, bring myself too much into that in that moment where you are articulating what you believe. Sometimes what you hear in that quiet is something you already know. That can be life-changing thing. That's what speaking something into existence can look like. Another tangent. Speaking of the Bible, I'm not religious, but what in the beginning was the word. Isn't that the beginning of the Bible? Speaking something to its existence, literally. So the woman I'm describing, that composite of several women I'm describing who I've worked with in these kinds of situations, they left those sessions feeling something I hear described again and again: lighter, excited, energized in a way that feels different from that kind of surface energy of a productive day. That sort of, well, not that, it's not that everything is sorted. It's not that they have a strategy and, they haven't set up their limited company and hired their staff and all this, all the kind of practical, the how stuff. They haven't done any of that. There's work, practical, unglamorous, figure it out kind of work. There's a timeline to map, there's decisions to make. There's still a lot of unknown to deal with. But the difference is the work ahead feels good. The work ahead feels like hers. And it feels like something worth doing properly rather than just sort of squeezing into the margins of the day. And what I see in those clients is they go away knowing that they are going to build this thing, not as a side project, but as a business, something that deserves their full attention, something that they've decided they're going to work towards giving their full attention. And what they've done in those sessions really is, although I'm there and I support and facilitate the thinking, they have given themselves permission to trust in what they already know, permission to believe that the thing they want to do could be real. And the space gives them enough room to do that and to explore that and what that could mean. And I share this because I think it gets at something important about what thinking space actually is and what it isn't. And I'm conscious that some of the people who might be watching this video who are already founders might recognize that they've had these kinds of moments, because thinking space isn't about having someone telling you what to do. It doesn't begin with the advice and the strategy and the suggestions and the plan handed down from someone else. It's certainly not about being in a room with anyone who knows better. The strategy and plan can come later. That's not where we begin. It isn't a blueprint I tell you to live by either. It isn't a set of instructions already laid out. It's the conditions in which you can hear yourself clearly enough to know what you already think. And the decisions that come from that place, the ones you arrive at yourself in your own time, through your own thinking, those are the ones that stick. Those are the ones that you can believe in, the ones that you can know to be true. They're the ones you trust. And therefore, they're the ones you tend to act on. And that's what I'm building with the founders I work with, not dependency on my thinking, but the conditions for their own. So, a question to take away. This might be a little different because it could speak to people who aren't yet founders, as well as the ones who are. The ones who I work with who are a bit further down the line, who might already have a team. I'm going to look at what I've written down for this question, because I did write this one down. Is there something you've been treating as a side thing? Something you fit in around the edges, give the time left over rather than the time it deserves, that might actually be the thing? I'm going to repeat that. Is there something you've been treating as a side thing? Something you fit around the edges, that you squeeze into the spare time, that you give the time left over rather than the time it deserves? What if that might actually be the thing? Just sit with that. So I'll be here next Wednesday with the next piece of this, whether that's a story or a sciencey episode. I don't know yet. If any of this today resonates, if you recognize yourself in the story, or if there's something you've been meaning to properly think through, I'd love to hear from you. Just drop me a message, pop something in the comments. I'm going to have to watch this video back, see if it actually worked. I'm hoping it did, because I've been talking for 17 minutes. And do get in touch as well if you're really early in your founder journey, or if you're like that step that I described, that step just before, where you have a thing, this sort of side thing that you want to explore more deeply. Because it might be that we have like a one-off thinking space session, they're called, where you begin to get clearer on what it is that you actually want to be doing. Because we need more women founders out there making amazing work, having impact. And if you're already a founder, it might be a part of your business that you've been neglecting, or a new direction you want to take, but still just needs like a one-off session to begin the journey. Because this thinking doesn't end just because you've got like a limited company set up and a couple of people on payroll, a VA, small team that you're building. There's always more thinking to do. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello. I'm sort of getting used to having a YouTube channel. It's kind of weird. I have no idea how many subscribers I have. But if you watch this and you'd like to keep watching and get notifications of when the next one's coming up, do all the like and subscribe stuff, then you won't miss what's coming next. So I will see you, hopefully, next Wednesday for the next Thinking Space video, or Thinking Partner video. I clearly need more coffee this morning. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Enjoy the slightly cooler weather, and I will see you next